All right, we want to go ahead and get started. This is pricing a house to sell, okay? In this market or in the last 6 months, that's been pretty darn easy. I mean, literally, you could just put it on Facebook that you're going to do an open house from Thursday to Sunday and hold out a sign out there, starting bid at $1, and let the market just kind of bid it up. That's probably the reality of 50% of the homes that in this market. But to the sellers, when you're going to talk to those sellers, they don't want to hear that, and they don't understand. It's hard to communicate that the market will actually dictate that final price. Okay, they want to know what's their house worth. Okay, so you got to be able to go in there and give them an idea of what that house is worth, what it could appraise for. Okay. And if you actually take a contract with a finance contingency and appraisal contingency, and in this market, those things are kind of becoming a thing of the past almost, but they will come back, okay? As the cash investors start to ease out of this market, and they will, because these prices are not sustainable, okay? This appreciation is not sustainable. We cannot keep going up. I just read it this morning, 31.6% average in the United States appreciation in the last 2 years. Okay. 31.6%, just 21%, I think, in Atlanta market last year, 17 the year before. We can't continue to run at an appreciation like that. So pricing the houses properly is going to become an art again. Right now, you just got to get close. Okay, you get close, and the market will bid it up. The one thing that you can take away probably from now until summertime is you cannot underprice a house right now. Okay, it is absolutely impossible to underprice a house. And when you go and talk to that seller, that has to be ingrained in their head that you cannot underprice that house. If you think it's worth $550 and you price it at $500, it will get to $550. Okay, but if you think it's worth $550 and you put it at $575, you'll get $535 in the end. Okay, so you need to be able to articulate that to them, and how you do that is you want to show them the market conditions. Okay, the first thing that I do when I'm going to do a CMA, when I'm going to price out a house, is I want to take a look at the market conditions. What's it telling me? Okay, and it is market specific for each house. You're going to have micro markets. Okay, you're going to have the house in Pickens, Gilmer County. Okay, you're going to have the house in Walton School District. You're going to have the house in Brookwood. These are all little micro markets, and you need to be pricing specific, and you need to understand what that specific market that the house that you're pricing is doing. What's it telling you? So I ran some quick numbers before I came in here, and I'll pull it up. And I'm going to show you how I get these numbers. So here's a real generic one that I like to do, and this is my little 30-second elevator speech when I'm talking to people. Cherokee County, the average price point is about $375, $400 in Cherokee County right now. I think it's like $389. What I did is a market-wide search in FMLS. Okay, and I'm going to tell you what these numbers are. This is the last 6 months sales between $250,000 and $750,000 in all of Cherokee County. Okay. Currently, we have 190 active homes for sale in Cherokee County between 250 and 750,000. We have 531 pending currently. Those are under contract. Those are the ones that are going to close the next day to 60 days. We sold 1,924 homes in the last 6 months. That means we're averaged in the last 6 months 320.6 homes per month. That's what we call our absorption rate. Okay. Based on that current rate of sales, 320.6 homes per month, and the current number of listings, 190 active listings, we have a 15-day supply of inventory. 15 days, folks. What that means is if we do not list another house in the next 15 days, There will not be a single house in Cherokee County to buy between 250 and 750,000. National Association of Realtors says we have a balanced market with a 6-month supply of inventory. It means we have an equal number of buyers and sellers. Okay, it's a seller's market when you have a 4-month to 6-month supply of inventory. It's a buyer's market, and I've been in a buyer's market. I remember doing it in years of supply of inventory in 2008 and 9. I would do this, and we'd have a 3-year supply of inventory. Okay, that means we had more buyers than we had sellers. An extreme seller's market is 2 months to 4 months. Okay, that means we have way more buyers than we have inventory and have sellers. There's not a term for 15-day supply of inventory. Okay, it's the wild, wild west out there. Anyone that's listed a house and got it close to the price has experienced that in the last 6 months. How many of you have taken a listing in the last 6 months? Okay. How many of you had more than 10 offers on one of those listings? Okay, that's what it's telling you, is you cannot underprice it. We have 10 buyers for every single house that we have for sale out there. Okay, we are starting to see a little bit of a shift. Okay, and we're going to see a little bit of a shift, and our government is trying to do that on purpose. Okay, we have got to get this supply under control. We cannot keep appreciating like this, or we will have a major crash. We've got to tamper it down. And that's why they have raised interest rates, and they are purposely raising interest rates. And we have personally experienced in the last 2 weeks, buyers that have been trying to win a house over the last 3 months, that back in January, they could afford a $400,000 house, okay? And that was at a 3% interest rate. When interest rates went from 3% to 5%, okay, for every 1% interest rate it goes up, you lose 11% in buyer power. So then now that they were in a $400,000 house, they can now afford a $320,000 house. Okay, that even shrinks the inventory and what they're looking for even more. So they've just given up. They just threw their hands up and said, you know, it didn't work. We can't find a house. We can't win a house. And now it's out of our what we want to buy. It isn't available at $320,000. What we can afford now. Okay, and you're going to start to see a little bit of that, and then you'll start to see it level out. And we cannot keep going up in this 17-20% appreciation. It just can't. It can't sustain, or we will have a crash. So just raise your hands if you have questions.
Bruce, tell us who you are and why they picked you to teach this class.
All right, so my history, I've been in the business since 2002. I was in it good years, 4, 5, 6. I mean, we were rocking and rolling. It was just like the last 2 years, 3 years. I mean, listed, you know, but it was a little different market. It was kind of a balanced market, but it was also a seller's market. But it was a 4 or 5 month supply, but we were selling fairly quickly, but not in days. It was usually a month, 2 months. We're getting 3 to 5% to list price. There was always this little fluctuation of, and then 2008 hit. I was in it then, the big crash. I survived. Okay. I was an individual agent from 2002 until 2017. I am one of the investors in the Market Center. I helped open the Canton office way back when in 2007. I was the #1 individual agent for about 5 years in a row until I partnered with this handsome young man over here.
Now you know he's in trouble.
And it actually came from one of these classes. I think 4 years ago, I was teaching one of these classes. It might even have been Price to Sell. And he was like, you know, I just told this story to Tom earlier, but he's like, hey, can I take you to lunch? And I'm trying to jumpstart my business. We kind of met and started talking. I realized he was a good guy and he had a lot of connections. I was doing about $10 million in sales, 35, 40 transactions a year by myself. I was a marketing person, I was the buyer's agent, I was the listing agent, I was my own admin for a year, that was hell. And I was working 50, 60 hours a week, but you know, I was used to it and I did it and I built a little business and it was good. I partnered with Keith about
4 years ago.
4 years ago, and we created EF2 Realty. Now I have these fine people right here that kind of, they do all the, God, I don't want to say it, the real work. You know, the buyer's agent, Zoe, she's awesome. She's incredible. Jason, you know, he's listing buyers. He's kind of working on some land stuff with me now too. And I get to kind of just do the big picture stuff. And we run EF2 Realty. We did 100 transactions last year, 99, 30 million in sales. You know, I like to think I know what I'm doing. Sold over 1,000 homes, I think, and my door's always open. Okay, my phone's always on. You call me, I'll even go on the listing appointment, get the listing for you. Okay, just call me, and we'll do the CMA together. Got questions? You know, how do you do this? You got a unique property, you got land, you got a mobile home park. It don't matter. Just come to me. I'll help you out or call me. Okay.
There you go, you did good. I put under Bruce's phone number, which I try to hit most of you with a card. Talk to us if you have land, ugly house, or something, somebody tells you I need a quick sale. We may be able to answer those questions for you, not cut you out of the deal, but give you a chance to be in the deal.
All right, so we actually have a new listing list, and we're presenting the CMA to these folks. We have not seen the house. We just know we're going to do it. We need a general idea. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone and use that property today and come up with what I think the value is going to be. And I'm going to just kind of walk you through how I go about doing a CMA, how I go about getting a price house, how I make adjustments for certain things. You know, why is this house worth more than this house? Well, it's got a half acre mower. It's on a cul-de-sac lot. It's got an extra bedroom, bathroom. It's got 300 square feet more. It's 10 years newer. I'm going to kind of tell you some of the generic ways to make those adjustments. You're going to forget it all, and then you're going to go, oh crap, I got a listing next week. I'm calling Bruce. Okay. But hopefully it'll give you kind of a generic idea of how I do my pricing, and maybe you can steal some of the information from it. So the house that we're doing, 107 Greenbrier Way,
Yep,
okay,
Georgia.
in Canton, Georgia. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I always pull the tax records on it. And I think actually, so why is it important to pull the tax records? Okay. So you get that phone call and you're going to go out to I'm just going to hit print lets me see the whole thing. And you don't know everything about the house. Okay. They tell you it's, you know, 3,000 square feet and it's 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, and you pull up the tax records and it says it's 2,472 square feet. Okay. Or they tell you it's 3,800 square feet. You don't value a basement square footage the same as you do the upstairs square footage. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take a look at this house. I want to find out what subdivision it's in, where it's located, what the actual square footage is, and then I'm going to be able to ask questions. This one says partially finished basement, and it says basement square feet 1215. We've called that seller and they've said, yes, it's finished basement. There's just one little area that's not finished. So we believe that's correct. Okay. So everything I'm doing is based off of paper analysis. Until we physically get in the house, and we can fine tune these numbers. And I can usually get within about $5,000 of what that house will appraise for. And that's not what it's going to sell for, because appraisals don't mean anything right now. Okay. So this one's 2,472 above. It's got 1,599 in the basement, of which 1215 is finished. Okay, this is in gray sky. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do Zillow, which she's already told us, says her house is worth $553,000. She made sure to tell us that her house is worth $550,000, $53,000, because Zillow said so. Okay? So we know right off the bat where her mindset is, what she thinks the house is worth, $553,000, and it may be in the end, but at least we have kind of a gauge of where she's at. Something else that I do when I'm doing this search is I will come in here to the tax records and they'll give you an estimated value, okay, this range, okay, 425, 357 to 493, okay. Now, I can pull up quick comps in Great Sky and see that it falls somewhere between 650 and 450 and 650. I know that. If it's just beat to crap and it's got holes in the carpet and mold and it's a fixer upper, it's going to be on the lower end of the scale. Okay, if I go into it and it's all dolled up, new HVAC, new roof, new everything, custom cabinets, new style zone countertops, finished basement, pool, bar, just the works, I know it's going to be on that higher range. Okay, so and based on that general conversation, she has 6 dogs. Okay, it needs a little sprucing. You know, it could use a little touch up in her words. So we have that knowledge. Okay, so but what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I know that I like to stay in school district specific. Okay, any of you out there that have sold houses, if you go from Cherokee High School to Creekview School District, there's a difference in value, okay? There's a big difference in value. If you take that house in Great Sky and put it in Woodmont, okay, the price changes. It goes up a good 10, 15% by school district. So try not to cross school districts when you're pricing these houses out. So I like to use school districts to do my generic month supply and do the same calculations I gave you on for the entire county. Okay, I'm just going to say I believe she thinks the house is worth 550. I've already done a little bit quick research, and I know it's probably worth somewhere between 475 and 625. It's just, I know that's probably the range. And I also know that the people that are searching for a house are probably going to be looking in that, let's call it that 475 to 625 range.
Bruce, do you worry a lot about elementary and middle schools, or are you talking more about high schools?
I usually just do high schools. It gives you a little broader picture about everything, and sometimes the elementary school and the middle school won't give you as big a picture and as broad and enough to choose from. So I usually try and just do by the high school. It gives you a little bit broader view. Okay, so when I do this, and I say 475 to 625, I've got 21 active homes. Okay. Actually, one went pending since I did this an hour ago. So it had 22 active homes, okay, 42 pending, 110 sold in the last 6 months. That's 18.3 sales per month. So based on our current inventory of now 21, okay, if we didn't list another house in all of Cherokee High School between that price point, 475 and 625, we would be out of inventory in 1.1 months, a little over 30 days. Still extreme, extreme, extreme sellers market, okay? What that tells me, again, you cannot undersell this house. It tells me there should be 10 buyers for this house. If you come close, if you don't overprice it, you should have 10 buyers and it should get bid up to the value, okay, that the market will dictate, okay? So that tells me I'm in a hot seller's market. I know that now, okay? So I know that I can't undersell it. I can overprice it, but I can't undersell it. So what I want to do is I want to get close to what I feel like this house would appraise for, okay? In the end, if you had a strong buyer or you had to fall back, what could it appraise for? Where could I think that this thing could appraise for? And that's kind of almost my starting point right now is the appraised value. Most of the time, things are going above appraised value right now. They're waiving the appraisal contingency. They're waiving the financial contingency, okay? What will this appraise for? God forbid you took a VA contract, okay? And why do I say that? Anybody know why I say that?
VAs have their own appraisals that they use under.
All the way to closing date,
Yeah.
okay? They can get out of the contract all the way to closing date if it doesn't appraise, okay? Government's not doing us any favors by putting this rule on these buyers. They're well-qualified buyers and they cannot compete with cash. And as a seller, and as you're advising your sellers, unfortunately, though you want to sell it to this VA person, it's not a good idea if you think you're stressing that appraisal point, okay? And most sales right now are at that appraisal or above, okay? So the next thing I would do on here is I'm going to go, okay, as an appraiser, I am only going to pull comps in Great Sky if I have comps. We're going to do this, yeah, what time is it? Okay, I can get through this in 15 minutes and then we're going to just pull a generic one if somebody has one that they want to do. And we'll just start from scratch because I've kind of cheated and started this process a little bit. So I've got 41 comps in Great Sky, okay? Appraisers, when they go out to appraise that house, they're first going to look within the same subdivision. If it's not in a subdivision, it's not in an HOA, they're going to go a half mile, 1 mile, 2 miles, staying in the same school district. They're looking for sales in the last 90 days. They're looking for sales within a 5-year age range, okay? So in other words, this house was built in 2015, so we're looking 2010 to 2020, but we really don't want to do it against new construction, okay? It's not the same beast. The house that they built in 2010, okay, 2012 versus they're building now, it costs twice as much to build that house. I remember when we built a house for $120 a square foot in Great Sky in 2007, 2006, and now they're $240 a square foot because the price of lumber, the price of everything, supply chain issues, it costs twice as much. So you don't want to compare against new construction, okay? Now, can they go buy a new construction that's the same quality, same size, everything for the same price? Then you got to look at it and say, are they going to pick your 6 dogs needs new carpet, new paint, okay? And then, or they can go get the same one brand new, move in everything new. So you got to kind of have to factor that in, but you don't want to use those sales as comps. So when I look through this, and I see that, okay, I've got 47, 41 sales. Now I'm going to go back into my criteria, and I know I don't want to use a new construction. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, you know what? This house was built in 2015, so I'm just going to narrow my criteria down and say, I want everything built before 2018 in Great Sky. What are my comps? Now I come up with 12. Okay, a lot of new construction selling in there. A lot of new
So
construction.
that got rid of your pendings pretty much.
I got rid of all my pending.
Okay.
Okay, so there is not. This is the one, Jesus Christ.
That one went under pending?
Yes.
Since we looked at it?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I was like, okay.
Way
we have
overpriced.
one active. Okay, so this was the one we thought was a little grossly overpriced, but this just tells us right now, this was active an hour ago. Okay, it's now pending. So this sets the market right here. Okay, so here's my closed. The next thing I want to do is I want to look for similar age, similar size. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
when he goes pending, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's pending at that price point, right?
No, it could be 20,000 more, it could be 50,000 less, we don't know.
Right.
Can't be used as a comp, but it definitely gives us a gauge that they got a freaking buyer at $599 to give them an acceptable offer. We don't know if that's 550, 525. When this closes, it becomes the next comp. My time's up.
So regardless of, along that thought process, I'm on the buyer side, so it's hard to judge.
You're the
you know,
buyer of this?
I'm sorry,
You're the buyer agent on this Stargaze?
no. But to know, okay, now that house, let's say it does sell for that high price.
Mhm.
Now the appraiser is gonna continue to use that, even though the appraisal may have come in lower and they paid the difference in cash.
Yep.
Okay.
Sets a new bar. That's what has happened over the last 2 years in our marketplace. 30% of all the sales have gone to cash, hedge funds, investors in the Atlanta market. And any of you that have been selling houses in the last 2 years, we've lost some sales to Open Door Offer Pad to Zillow because they walked in and we've told them their house is worth $520,000 and Zillow came in and offered them $550 and bought that house. Well, they paid $550 for it. A year later, it's worth $640. They keep setting the market value because they have enough cash that they are creating that shortage of inventory, driving up their own prices. Okay, they're able to manipulate the market with their cash. So here are my comps. I'm going to use this one to start with, okay? And I'm going to show you how I would make adjustments if this house was to sell for $599,000. How would I adjust our house's value to this house's value, all things equal, okay? So one of the first things I do is I like to look at the pictures, okay? Pictures will give you 1,000 words, okay? Good pictures, looks clean, looks well cared for. Okay. I give it a good B+ to A- rating, okay? Got carpet, not a lot of upgrades, builder grade stuff. But clean, movable, livable, okay? So then I'm going to look and I want to look in there and I want to see if it has any special features. Does it have a pool? Does it have, upgrades? Yeah, I mean, amazing fire pit. I'm just trying to look for anything that stands out to me. Brand new everything. Okay, this has a brand new outdoor entertaining area. Okay? So I want to kind of look at that and I want to see, okay, what might it have that is over and above or under my potential listing when I go to see my listing, okay?
So Bruce, sorry, interrupt. So we were told that the outdoor entertainment space does not have value to apartment.
No.
Appraisers don't look at it and.
It's saleability.
Okay.
But right now, it does add value because appraisals turn out the window, okay? I know that sounds crazy, but
So it can add, so you can't really up your price, but
it will
like
help
they
sell
were
it
selling
quick-
it at
sell it
21.
quicker, okay? For an appraised value, it won't add a whole lot of value, okay? But for saleability, it does add value.
it's more desirable,
Yeah, more desirable, and there's nothing to buy, so I'm gonna buy this one anyway. And I'm gonna pay them the price because there's nothing else out there to buy, and I need a house before May 25th. I just sold my house in Oregon for $2 million. This is a bargain to me. Okay,
Thank you.
so this house was built in 2003. Okay. I'm gonna go to the tax records. Now I'm gonna pull. I'm gonna see what the tax records tell me about this house. It says it's 2714. You guys remember our house was 2472? About $250 square footage in difference. This is where I need my phone and a calculator. And it's got only 354 feet finished in the basement, is what the tax records say. Now, all I'm gonna do, because the tax records aren't actually correct all the time, So now I want to kind of come in here, I want to read what it says here, okay? And see if it says fully finished basement. Basement is finished with another living room area as well as a gaming room, man's workshop, utility sink, okay? Unfinished bedroom and more storage. So it probably has a little bit more than 354 square feet, but maybe not that much with just a living room and a gaming room. But it might only be 354 square feet. So not knowing, I'm going to use what the tax records tell me. I have to assume it's correct. Okay. I don't see anything glaring that tells me it's fully finished, custom bar, everything. So the way that I would make an adjustment on this house against, damn it,
You asked for it. Yes, David Rousseau texted you one.
yes, all right. So, all right, so 500, let's assume it sold for $599,000, $900 at listing price, okay? Now I'm going to divide that by 2714, okay? That tells me it's selling for $221 a square foot. If I go in and do that for all the houses in there, it's going to give me that range of about 170 to about 235. Okay, so it's kind of on par dollar per square foot. And I'm only doing dollar per square foot on the main level. Okay, and this is what an appraiser is going to do. They're going to give you different values for main level and basement level. They're not going to be the same. And they typically give you an adjustment on the value of about 30 to 40%. So I always use 35% as sort of my sweet spot that I try and use. So you're going to get our house being 250 square feet less than this house, all things equal, should be I multiply 35% by 221, that's $77.35. They're going to give you about $77.35 extra value for this house because it has more square footage. So if I multiply 77.35, which is 35% of the dollar per square foot, and everybody following me? Okay. This house should be worth about $19,337, about $20,000 more, okay, than our house, because it has more square footage upstairs. That's the adjustment that they're going to make. Okay. So all things equal, our house should be worth about $580,000. Okay. Now, our house has 900 square feet finished in the basement more. Okay. So I take 900 square feet, they're going to give you about $20 or $25 a square foot on appraised value for the basement. They're giving you a little bit more lately because costs have gone up. So I've seen them as high as $35 a square foot, but I'm going to say $30 a square foot. Okay. 27,000. Okay. Our house should be worth $27,000 more because we have more square footage finished in the basement. Okay. So now when I add that 27 back to that 580, now all of a sudden I'm at 607 for our house compared to this house. Does that make sense? Okay. Bedrooms and bathrooms. Okay. We have 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. This has an extra full bath. It's only about a $6,000 or $8,000 adjustment. The numbers are telling me, okay, that if this house closes at $599, it becomes our new strongest comp. And as long as our house looked the same, felt the same, was as clean as new, we could be as high as $599,000. Okay. Because this hasn't closed, I can't use this house as a comp. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go, okay, the most expensive home is sold for $620,000. Always try and go to the most expensive and least expensive and look at them compared to our house. And it kind of tells me you usually can throw out the highest and the lowest, but not always. So if I take the highest priced home and I say, okay, why did this one sell for $620,000 and when? Okay. This is a 6-bedroom, 5-bath. It had 4115 square feet up. Yeah,
It's much bigger.
much bigger. So if I did the same adjustments on this one. Okay. It's, oh wait. So this one is about 900 square feet bigger. Sorry, guys. Okay, this house should be almost $50,000 more than our house for that adjustment on the square footage, okay? And then we make the same adjustment for the basement. So this house as a comp is telling me our house should be about 590, all things equal, okay? Then we have to go back and we have to look at, you know, what did this house have in it? How did it look compared to ours? Did it have brand new everything? What did it look like? 3-car garage. 4-side brick. I'm gonna make a huge adjustment mentally, just from what I know, what our house supposedly needs, okay? If it needs new carpet, if it needs new paint, if it needs, cosmetic repairs, I gotta start making adjustments for those repairs for the saleability, okay? This house puts me at a comp price of about 585 to 590. This is the most expensive sale. Everybody follow how I got there? I kind of did some stuff here and 4115 came out to $150 a square foot. Took 35% of that, multiplied it by 900 square feet more, and said, okay, this house is worth 50,000 more than ours. So I took 50,000 off this price, got me down to 570, and I added 25, 27 for our finished basement. Okay, you're gonna take some off, extra bedrooms, extra bathrooms, larger square footage in the basement. So it's gonna take us back down to about that 580 mark when I can do all the math in my head. Okay, so it takes us down to about 580 for an appraised value using this comp. And you can actually in a CMA make all these adjustments, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that here. Okay, so let's say I'm going to hold that one as a comp. I'm going to hold this one as a comp, okay? So here's probably one of our best comps right here, okay? And why is this our best comp? It's a 5, 3.5, okay? It's got a full basement. It was built in 2018. So it's a similar year, okay? It's 3,000 square feet. It's got 1560 unfinished basement, okay? This is its same bedroom, same baths, same everything. Closer to a year. I can look at it, it's builder everything. Cleaned it, they emptied it, it's original carpet, has a little wear on it. I can look at this and say, okay, I can see stains on the walls in the bedrooms. It was cleaned, but it's not spectacular. So I take this house at $525,000. I always want to check the square footages, okay? Sometimes they're incorrect, but this one says it's 3,004. Again, 500 square feet. This is the one that pulls our value down. So this one sold for 525. I divide that by 3,000 square feet, it's $175 a square foot. 35% of that's about 61.25. This house should be worth more than our house, okay? Because it's got more square footage. $33,000. This says our house is worth $495,000. Okay, remember when I said the high and the low, you can kind of usually kind of throw them out. This says our house should be worth $495,000.
Did that one sell last month or 5 months?
You jumping ahead of me there. I've taught him well.
Sorry.
So this house actually went on the market last summer, went under contract in September, didn't close to the end of October. Okay, so it started at 550,000. Okay, and had to do a price reduction before it sold. It tells me right there they overpriced.
Tell by the days they already overpriced. It's
Yeah.
not been on the market that long.
Nope.
Anything that's
Three days.
on the market more than about 10 days was overpriced, and, you know, or they're taking a lot less than list price typically. If it didn't go under contract in the first 5 days, it's probably not going for list price. Okay, so I can look at this one and I can say, okay, it sold almost 6 months ago. You guys remember from the beginning where I said we went up almost 21% last year? Okay, that's about 1.5% per month. So when this house sold 6 months ago, if it sold today, okay, it should be worth about 9 or 10% more. So the appraisers will factor this in, that we are in an appreciating market, because this one sold 6 months ago at 525. We can add almost 10% to our value because it's today versus 6 months ago, and that's what appreciation has done. So if it said that our house was worth $495 6 months ago when this one sold, okay, I can add to almost 10% to that price. So today that our house should be almost worth $540, $545. See, I'm starting to get that range. Okay, 545 is my low end, 610, 620 was my high end. Okay, when I go back in here and I start finding my other comps, it's going to start painting a picture when I start doing all of these adjustments. Okay, and I can do it for every single one of these things. And it should paint, oh, they sold it to a VA buyer.
Wow.
Yeah, well, and we had it originally listed higher, did a price reduction and sold it to a VA buyer. Good for them.
Yeah, yeah.
3394 square feet. I mean, I can almost do the math in my head. This one's going to bring my price all the way back down to about 525, and I can sit here and do this. But what I'll do, I'm just going to kind of speed things up a little bit, because I've done, I think, enough adjustments for you guys, how I kind of get to values. So I'm gonna pick my comps, okay? And I will actually physically go in here and do all these comps for each one of these things, okay? And if I went in, I'm just gonna pick some random ones here, and I always just go to this cloud CMA. You can just, I don't know. Okay, and you just put it all in here, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to fetch my listings. And I can usually just take my comps with me and do this, but this will kind of spell it out, and then I can actually kind of go in there and you can make, this is the way I do it, okay? This is just the way I do it. It's a nice, pretty folder, nice, pretty picture. I put it in a nice little binder. It looks like I spent all night working on this. I can do it in about 15 minutes and show it the doorstep and have a pretty good idea of range of where this house needs to be priced, okay? I already know from that conversation, her expectation is 553, okay? Because she's already told me, Zillow says it's 553. Okay, great. I know that it's gonna probably be somewhere between 525 and 600 in that range. Really just, I don't know that condition, okay? I think it's gonna be on that low 500s if it's peak to boot, okay? If she's willing to do a little bit of work, she's willing to replace the carpet, paint, she's gonna get all that money back and then some, okay? But I know that that range is probably 525 to 600 for this house. And just depending on the actual condition of the home, I would love to come in at $10,000 or $15,000 where I think it's gonna appraise at. And I think it's gonna appraise somewhere between 540 and 565. If I had a VA buyer, I'd love to probably list this house about 540 and sell it for 565 and 570. Okay. That 599 house really intrigues me. I looked at that thing, it's been on the market, I think 17 days. It looked like it was about $40,000, price too high. I'm gonna call that agent, I'm gonna call the buyer's agent, I'm gonna find out, did it go for list price? No. Okay, that tells me a lot. Buyer's agent typically give you more information than the listing agent, and, you know, how far under, you know, what kind of buyer do you have with cash? Yes, we were able to negotiate a little bit better terms. What did
Good picture, Bruce.
Oh, man, I tell you what, that's about 35 pounds. I didn't fetch all the right listings.
Hey Bruce, can I say something that you do that you said but you didn't spend much time on? Is you really, tell me how you really need to focus on the buyer and not wanting that high list price. And that's having to chase the basketball down the hill. You mentioned it, but how do you get them to buy into that idea?
Okay, so I'm going to revert back to 2008 on that subject, okay? Back in 2008, I was going on 10 listing appointments a week. And it was, I need to sell it for this much money, $400,000, okay? Let's put it at 440 and try and work our way down to 400. Well, the market was in a decreasing market back then, okay? So I used to use this analogy all the time, that they would say, well, it's worth 400 right now. Well, in a month, because it's going down 1% a month, okay, 2% a month back then, it was going to be worth 380 in a month. And you're going to start up at 440. I use the analogy that you were chasing this ball downhill trying to get in front of it, okay? And they do a price adjustment, they just kept falling. Every time you did a price adjustment, every time that property stayed on the market longer, you lost value, okay? You lost your negotiations with the seller, okay? Your first week is your most important week, and that's when you're going to sell most of the property, especially in today's market. When I go into the sellers right now and they say, well, this one is $599, let's put it at $650. Okay, what's going to happen is it's going to sit on the market for 2 weeks. We're going to get a whole bunch of showings, and we're going to probably have 5 buyers that would have bought it at $575, where the price should have been from the beginning. Now we're going to drop it to $599, and it sat on the market for 2 or 3 weeks. And any agent that knows that something sat on the market for 2 or 3 weeks or had a price reduction, that spells desperation to me. If I'm the buyer's agent, we can negotiate, we can get them a lower offer. Now, all of a sudden you get 4 offers from 4 buyers that feel like you're willing to negotiate, or something's wrong with the house because it's been sitting on the market 30 days because you really wanted to hold your ground for 30 days before you make that price adjustment. If it sits on the market 30 days, I'm yanking it off the market and I'm relisting it if we're doing a price adjustment. I'm going to make it look like a brand new listing, because there's a whole bunch of agents, and I want you all to be honest with me, okay? I'm gonna pull up a listing right now and tell me if you need to do this, okay? and I'm not saying this one did it. But anybody know what this button does right here? Okay, and it's okay if you didn't know, but this gives me my listing history. Okay, a lot of agents won't go in there, they'll see a new listing and think it's brand new. And think, oh, it just hit the market at 620, but actually it was listed at 699 for 60 days, then it went to 650, then it went to 640. And they can look at this thing and they could say, oh, okay, that thing had been on the market for a little while, they're desperate, we can make them an offer. I'm yanking it off the market and putting a new listing. I don't want to show all these price reductions, okay? Because let's face it, a lot of new agents, they don't know how to research this stuff and they don't look at that. So they don't notice to see if it was truly a new listing or it's been on the market for a year and a half. Okay, it's been on the market for a year and a half at the same price. What's wrong with it? It goes right back to the beginning of the conversation with them in today's market. If you understand the market, you understand those numbers, and you can show them that it's a seller's market, and you can show them all these listings that if I kind of go through here and I click through each one of these things, 575 sold for 595. Okay. 545 sold for 590. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, just because we put it up at 540 doesn't mean it's going to sell at 540. The market tells us it's going to get bid up. Okay. It's going to get bid up. And you can show them on each one of these sales, 564, 565. That was VA buyer. I mean, at list price, Everything is selling at or above list price. Okay. If you sold it below list price, you grossly overpriced that thing and you did not do your sellers any favors. Okay. In today's market. Now, what happens when if we have a shift and we get actually balanced inventory? You got to get dead on these numbers. Okay. Now the appraisal comes into play because buyers aren't going to pay above appraised value. They're going to pay what they're going to lend on, what the lender's going to give them money. You've got to get really precise with these numbers. So right now it's really nilly. You want less than 550? Okay. It's sold for 575. Okay. You know, I think I can get 565. Okay, we'll put 565 and then sell in 3 days, go to 540 and it should sell the next day. But I mean, as long as you don't grossly overprice it, it should sell in three to 5 days.
Can you tell Christie's story of a house for this past weekend, how they said, this is my make my move price, if I can get this, I'm out of here?
Yeah, so this is a conversation that you guys can have because we need inventory. These people reached out to us last summer. They were thinking about selling. They wanted to buy a house in some acreage. We looked, and we're going to sell the house with the acreage. And we couldn't find anything that they wanted. About a month and a half ago, I don't even know why I did it, but I was just sitting in front of my computer and I pulled up this subdivision and I said, hey, you ready to sell your house? It's look at the last 3 sales in there. And he called me and he said, holy crap. He said, I'd love to cash out, but I ain't got any place to go. And I said, well, he said, I mean, that's a lot of money. I paid $150,000. I can get $375, $380 for my house. And he said, I might go just rent something until we find some land and build something in a few years. So I said, we'll go rent a house. Let's go rent your house and then we'll sell your house. So gave him some rental listings. He went out and looked at it. He called me 5 days later and said, okay, I rented a house and I'm going to sell my house. And I went over there and said, if I get 380, I'll sell. Well, we put it up at 380 and we went under contract a lot more than 380. Cash, 17 days closed, no contingencies, no finance, no nothing, no due diligence. And he's just like crazy. It is almost name your price out there right now. Okay. That's something that you guys can talk to people about when you're out there just in the community. You know, we wear our NASCAR uniform everywhere we go. People at the bank, people at wherever, they stop me and they go, oh man, real estate market. Well, great. You know, we need houses to sell. You ever thought about selling? Do you have a make me move price? Okay. And everybody has a make me move price. I almost want to give you my personal story, and I will. I won't tell you the dollar value, but so we had an open house about 2 months ago. We had 35 people do this open house. It was in Alpharetta, nice school district, pool, unfinished basement, over $1 million. And we had some buyers that were desperate for a house. They wanted a finished basement, they wanted a pool. They wanted to be in one of about 3 different school districts. I happen to live in one. And I jokingly said, I'll sell you my house for this much. And they said, send me some pictures. So jokingly, I sent them pictures. They said, give me your address, gave them my address. They drove by my house. They said, when can we see it? And could you close in 30 days? Honey? You know, I may have sold her house. And I told her what the price was, and she's like, she started looking at rentals. We were scouring the internet for rentals 3 weeks ago, thinking about selling our house and then getting a rental house and just cashing out. And we sold our lake house last May. We did the same thing. We were sitting up there on spring break. Our neighbor put their house on the market. And I went, there's no way they're getting that much. And she said, we got close to that, I'd sell it. I pulled up, I was like, there's nothing for sale. I was like, let's just throw it on the market. Threw it on the market on Thursday. It was under contract Saturday. We were up there on spring break. We closed 30 days later. No intention of selling it, but there's a make you move price. There's a price that people will sell their house. They'll go, you know what? If I get that much money, I'm gone. And I mean, it's, you know, I went and knocked on my neighbor's door and said, hey, you guys want to move? Because I just got offered this for my house. I bet you I could get them to buy your house. And they did the same thing. They don't have a pool, and these people did not want to build a pool. They wanted a pool already in place. So, but they were like, yeah, give me that much money, we're gone. We'll go rent an apartment for 2 years. And there is a price that everybody will move. And it's right now, it's almost at that point. What's your make me move price? Give me 1 week to try and sell your house at that price. If it doesn't sell, it's probably not going to sell at that price. FSBOs, okay? Yes, I'm getting off topic here, but back when I used to chase down FSBOs, and I did, I would, you know, I would stop in there and I would ask them for a temporary listing agreement. Okay. Let me market it. Let me do an open house for you. Give me 7 days to sell your house. Okay. Same thing now. You see a for sale by owner sign go up. Okay. You stop and knock on that door. Find out what they're asking for it. Do a little research and say, look, I think I can negotiate you a whole lot more money net in your pocket and still pay a real estate commission because you're still going to probably pay a 3%. I'm that good. Give me 7 days. Let me list your house for 7 days. I want to do an open house next week. I'll pay for the professional photos. If I don't sell it, you can keep the professional photos. And if that price is close, you will sell that house in 7 days. Okay. And they will let you sell that house because they were going to get 400, but if you can get them 475 and still pay a 6% real estate fee, they're going to be happy. Okay. And if the numbers say you can do it because they're uneducated and they're just guessing off the Zestimate, knock on that door, ask for a temporary listing agreement for 7 days because the numbers tell us that it's going to sell in 7 days or less. Anybody know how to pull stats? People want to know how to pull stats?
Sure, yes.
All right, so I'm going to use the same. What did I say? 470. I'll just do 450 to 650. Okay, 450 to 650. You got to click on detached. Don't do attached. Don't do residential leases, that kind of stuff. I'm just going to do Cherokee County. Okay, I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to do the same high school. And you're going to go to customize, okay? And why do I go to customize? It's because I want to customize my time frames, okay? I don't want just none, okay? I want the last 6 months, okay? So I always come in here and I put in a custom date. So my custom date is gonna be October. And I'm gonna put till March. The reason I did, well, I'm gonna put to April and I'm gonna show you why I always put the month before. Now, the stats I'm looking for, okay, total days on market, average days on market. If I do this. Okay. So, and this gives you by a price point, okay? That's the total days on market. This is by price point. Each one tells you how long total days on market they were to sell that house, okay? So the ones that I like to use are this price, sales price. So. Close price to list price ratio. This is one I like to use, okay? %, 120%, okay? The only ones, the higher price ones, but anything under about $750,000 right now in Cherokee County should sell at list price or above list price, okay? You can look at this graph and you can see that everything is selling at 100%. So if we list it at the right price, it should sell at list price or above. Okay. These are days to sell. Okay. These are actual days to contract. It gets skewed, okay, a little bit, but the average days, if without a price reduction, is about 7 days. Okay. And if you go through each one of those listings, you can show them listing sold 4 days, list sold 5 days, listings under contract. You know, you can look at that and you can show them that all of these sold above list price in 4 or 5 days. That's powerful information. So if we list it properly, it's going to sell in 7 days at 100% list price or above. So guess what happens in 7 days if it's not under contract, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? We missed it. Okay? We missed it. We missed the price. We got to have a heart to heart, or we tried your way and we put it right here. It didn't sell. The numbers tell me it's going to sell in 7 days. If it doesn't sell in 7 days, we need a price reduction. Okay? It needs to change. So.
Bruce, how many showings are you expecting? And then you should get an offer.
Anything under, it just depends on the school district. Like we did the one, I'll use Cameron Court. I mean, we listed it at $1 million. The highest price home that ever sold in the subdivision was $920. Okay, same street, same house down the street, same everything. Ours had a pool. We listed at $1 million. We had 35 people through the open house. We had, I don't know how many showings.
Oh, God, between 20 and 30.
20 or 30 showings. We always list on a Thursday. We schedule open house Saturday or Sunday or both days. Okay, every listing, we want to pick up 2 or 3 buyers. Okay, you get a listing, you just created yourself 2 or 3 new clients if you play right. Okay, if you list it on Thursday, if you know you've got a price right and it's going to sell, you're going to get multiple offers, you let it marinate. Okay, you put it up at 380 like we did last Thursday. We had our first offers by Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Okay, we had our 20 showings on Friday. We did our open house on Saturday, and we told everybody we were going to review offers on Monday and pick highest and best. Monday morning, we went under contract for almost 10% above list price, cash buyer, no contingencies. If you take that first offer, okay, they came in $5,000 above list price, cash, closing 17 days, you are not doing your seller any favors. If you let it marinate for 3 or 4 days, the market will end up dictating what it's going to sell for at the end. It will bid itself up, and you will get to choose the buyer you want to work with. If I have 5 offers, I can bid that price up for my seller, okay? If I have 1 offer, it's hard to bid that price up. You have to create that frenzy, okay? So if you just take that first offer and say, well, if you give us $5,000 more, we'll sell it to you, and your seller seems all happy, but did you really do them? Were you really looking after their best interest if you didn't tell them, the market tells me I have 10 buyers for this property. Let's wait for all 10 of those buyers to throw their hat in the ring, and then let's pick who we want to sell it to, okay? The next buyer might want to close in 14 days and do no due diligence and give you $20,000 non-refundable, okay, at the same price. That's a better contract. Let's take that one, okay? So
Question on that, when an agent calls you and they're considering putting an offer, do you disclose to them what your highest offer is at that time? Do you kind of give them an idea of a number or no?
$1 million. No.
So you don't say, well, we're already above asking. I mean, do you kind of give them indicators without saying the number?
All right, so I'll give you my example, and I'll give you Roxanne's example. She came to me about a month and a half, 2 months ago. She's like, I got multiple offers, and let me look at this one. Look at it, this is the best one, but I just want to get your advice. And she had a contract for, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000 above list price. They said they were waiving the appraisal contingency. It was an FHA buyer. It all looked solid and it looked good. They were, and I said, well, wait a second, you got a cash buyer here that's only $10,000 or $15,000 lower. Go back to the cash buyer and say, give me this price, waive this, use my closing attorney, and I'll sell it to you. Okay, we've already asked for highest and best. There's nothing written in law that says you can't say, this is my best buyer, this is who I want to work with. But there's a couple of terms I want to change. One just happens to be price. Okay, so she called the cash buyer and said, would you do this? And the cash buyer said, yeah. And she's like, oh my God, thank you. The cash buyer took it, and no contingencies, cash, non-refundable earnest money. It's a lot safer sale. It's a lot cleaner sale. I hope I told that story right.
Well, it wasn't a cash buyer, but they had a lot of money down.
Okay.
And that is where you flipped me. You said, look at the down payment, because they've got 50% down. That is sweet apple pie right there. So that is why out of the 10 offers, we ended up going for that one with the help from your advice. Yeah. That it was not the highest, but it was the most secure.
So
If that makes sense.
We had a buyer that was giving us well above list price on this house this last weekend, but then we had a cash buyer that we went back to him, and the cash buyer pretty much said, where do we need to be? Give us a chance. So we went back and said, you beat this by $1,000, it's yours, cash, no contingencies, no everything. And that's what we did. Okay. So I do not tell them up front. I want to gather all the offers. I want everybody to put their best foot forward. I want everybody to tell me what they're willing to do or not to do as far as contingencies, waiving appraisals, closing dates, inspections. I want termite bond. I want home warranty. I want your back deck furniture. I want your TV. I want your lawnmower. I want to see all that stuff, because that changes. I want your basketball goal. We got threatened to be sued over basketball goal last week.
Oh my God.
But yeah, we clearly stated in the disclosure it wasn't staying.
And our broker Misty told me to freaking fly high.
Yeah.
So,
Tell their broker go fly a kite. It says it right here in the disclosure. Anyway, we want to look at all the offers. We want everybody to put their best foot forward. Once I get that first two offers, I call for highest and best. I usually call it 48 hours in advance out front by a certain time. And let's say it's 6 o'clock Sunday or it's Monday morning at 9 a.m. Those are typically our timeframes. I'll take those offers, I'll sit down, I'll do a spreadsheet, and I'll label them 1, 2, 3 as my strongest offers. And it's not always priced. Okay, we got cash right here, 14 days, no due diligence, $20,000 non-refundable, as is, where is. I've got 20% down conventional, 10-day due diligence, you know, contingent on inspection. You just, you know, those are, you give people time, things will change. When you go to resell that house a second time because the first one walked away, you've lost that momentum. Okay, so you want to try and pick that one that's gonna stick the very first time. So,
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. I just had 3 people walk away from one, but we did close. Yay. Yeah.
next time that happens, if you're feeling a little desperate, call.
We weren't desperate yet.
We work with investors, so if you have anyone that has a distressed property or needs a little loving, give us a call. Anybody have any other questions right now?
I have someone that owns the property. It is commercial, I believe.
Okay.
He just put up, there's like a little house in it, that's run down, and he fixed everything.
Trying to remember
He
what we're
said,
talking
if
about.
you can tell me
Yes.
what the price
Well,
is
now, could they-
now,
no, square foot.
how the market is right now. I
The
missed it.
difference in,
Okay.
square
Is there a
foot.
price at which you would sell?
He hasn't said, he has no idea. The big price for it.
It's commercial though? Okay, that's a different animal.
About 30
I'll
miles.
be happy to take that one-on-one. I don't think anybody here wants to do a commercial see it. I don't know what time it is. I probably ran over. Sorry, I didn't get.
Yeah, 240.
So hopefully it was helpful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Very
You
nice.
got about 1.1. I don't understand where the 35% comes.
Okay, so
So I got you. take-
$200 per square foot. Okay, let's say it's $200 per square foot. Okay, and our house is 300 square feet smaller, okay, or larger, okay? The appraisers are not gonna say, because our house is $300 square feet smaller, they're not gonna take $200 square foot and say our house is worth $60,000 less because it's only 300 square feet smaller. They don't even make an adjustment if it's less than 10% sometimes. So a house is 3,000 square foot versus 2,700 square foot, they don't necessarily make an adjustment, but typically they will. And what they'll do is take 35% of that $200 a square foot, and they'll say, okay, we're gonna give you $70 a square foot for the additional. So your house is worth. Yeah, it gets a little confusing, but they don't give you $200 a square foot, you know, for that extra 300 square feet.
And the basement, you said was how much?
For finished basement is about 25. They'll give you about, here's a good rule of thumb, it's been changing a little bit lately, but because the cost of basements has gone up so much. But I used to take about 10 to 15% or 15% of the cost of the house. In other words, if I had a house that was worth $400,000 and it had a basement, I could add $40,000 to $60,000 for just having that basement. It's gone up a little bit, so I would use that 15%. So if you got a house that's worth $500,000 and you got a slab house, the same model with a basement, you can add $75,000 for just having an unfinished basement. And then for any square footage finished in that basement, you can add another $25 to $30 per square foot for the finish area.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. That was awesome.
Thank you.
And land, whole another beast, but if you get it, come see me, I'll help you price it, it's all about what you can do with it and. You know, you sell it. Developers, knows how many houses can you put.
Let's look at it.
That land, come see me, Especially if we have 10 to 20 acres in Cherokee County, I want it.
She mentioned making additional.